Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Haxorus with the new move Breaking Swipe in the Master League Premier Cup. This cup is currently not available, but will be available in like I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So it's definitely something you kinda want to take a look at as well on how good this Pokemon is going to be now. We had the Community Day this weekend and this Pokemon was already pretty damn amazing in the Great League. Check the videos out on my channel if you haven't already. But yeah, now we're going to take a look at the Master League for this Pokemon, which is going to be an interesting one for sure, because this Pokemon is most likely the best one for the Master League Premier Cup, better than most likely Great League or the Open Master League. So this is basically where this Pokemon should shine, and can it shine, we're going to find out today. We're going to have a lot of cool battles here. Well, the first one we're going to get completely hardwalled. There wasn't a lot that we can do here, of course. Battles against people from the community here. They didn't know my team, but they most likely knew that I'm going to run the Haxorus. So I built a team that tried to counter usual counter teams for Haxorus teams, because usually Haxorus is a lead for most teams, and so I went for the opposite and put it into the bag, while putting an answer for the answers for Haxorus in the lead with the Togekiss. And this team worked out super well. I can highly recommend to you, whenever the Master League Premier Cup is coming back, which is going to be in a few weeks, that you're going to try out this team. This team is supposed to be very decent on paper, and it worked so well when I tried it out today. So yeah, we're going to encounter now the Metagross, which our Snorlax is going to be able to counter as well. Actually thought of putting on the Outrage onto Snorlax, but then decided to still stick with the Superpower just to hit those Steel types a little bit better, which the Togekiss struggles with. So Outrage would have been a cool tech move to bait out potential Dragon-type Pokemon, because you have a Togekiss lead. Outrage on the Snorlax as a Sasop can make some kind of sense, but I think without the Shadow bonus of the Snorlax, you're not able to counter those Dragon-type Pokemon anyway. So if you have a Shadow Snorlax, that would be definitely a way to go. But for me, because I don't have the Shadow variant of it, I went for the normal moveset of Body Slam and Superpower. Here we're going to be able to go for an Ancient Power against the Gyarados to knock them out, and we can hop in right into the next game here, as you're going to encounter Togekiss against Haxorus. I battled a ton of Haxorus as well, which is going to be very good for the showcase here as well, because you're going to be able to see from both sides, against us as well as like on our own side here with the Haxorus, as you're going to encounter now the Metagross. This was one of my first battles that I played with this Pokemon, so I wasn't really sure too much on how this matchup gonna go. Turns out as well that it was most likely the second matchup where I played this against. There was like one matchup which is also definitely going to be in here, where I then realized that I wasn't able to farm them down with the before they get to the second charge move there, which is something that you definitely have to keep in mind. You have to go for 2 charge moves against the Metagross in that scenario here, and you have to lose basically 1 shield, but it's going to be fine here, so you're going to be able to debuff the opponent's Haxorus here. In comes the Magnezone, and this is going to be a little bit of a tough one. They still have a shield advantage here, so it all comes down to the bait here, if I'm going to be able to bait correctly against the opponent. Let's see, it's going to be the Mirror Shot first, which is going to lose them quite a lot of potential here. They're going to be able to get the attack drop, which is really important for them, as now even the Superpower wouldn't have knocked them out there, but because they went for the Wild Charge there and they don't have another move stored yet, I can go for another Superpower, nearly knock them out. They can knock me out right now, but they're low enough and their energy dries, so we're going to be able to just farm them all the way down with our Togekiss, winning this game here, as Togekiss is such an underrated Pokemon right now as well. Very nice Pokemon. This was the first game that I actually played, so it's most likely kind of similar. We're going to see a Dragonite in the lead here, and we're going to now get in the Haxorus against the Metagross again. And here you're going to see the matchup that I talked a little bit about earlier. If you have exactly this scenario here, you're going to not be able to farm down the Metagross. I'm going to learn this here on the hard way, which is at this point of time not the worst anyway, because I know that their lead is going to be weak against Breaking Swipe, but here you see they're going to survive with a little bit more than 1 HP there, and they can still get to another charge move. Don't know if this is going to change if your Haxorus would be best buddied. That would be something interesting to take a look at. But like this, we're still going to be able to go for some Breaking Swipes against the Dragonite, and actually going to get some shields back here, which is going to be very nice for me, as you're going to be able to go for another one here, gonna get them to half of their health, and because of Breaking Swipe debuffing the opponent's attack, we're actually able to get to another one. They swapped out into their Excadrill, allowing us to swap into our Snorlax. They are debuffed right now, and I don't even have to go for the Superpower anymore. Superpower is not really necessary anymore. I can just go ahead and go for the Body Slam spam, because they're so low, because they are going to have to go for 4 drill runs in order to knock me out here. There's no risk for me to go for the Body Slam here right now. It would just be risky to go for the superpower like this. I can knock them out here in time. They only have their Dragonite left and are going to be able to still win this game here, even though I misplayed pretty hard with our Haxorus going 2 shields down there. We didn't need shields in the end game as we were able to just dominate the opponent here. Good game there as the final move comes through here. The superpower is not going to do enough damage against Togekiss, of course, and this is going to be a good game. Let's take a look at the next game here. We're going to encounter the Togekiss against a Goodra, amazing lead for us, and as you're going to see here right now, the opponent going to stay in, which kind of tells me they're most likely double weak to Togekiss, and we're going to take advantage of this one here right now. As they're going to get the attack drop, this is going to be fine. We most likely have to swap out after we farmed them all the way down anyway, but here we're going to get even more energy now against the opponent. In comes now a Pokemon where I should have went for a charge move first against the Mamoswine. I could have went for the new Community Day move Aura Sphere. You don't need Aura Sphere on this Pokemon, by the way. You can also use the Flamethrower. The matchups are pretty much the same. But here we're gonna now get out the Garchomp against us, which of course gets completely hard-walled by our Togekiss in the back, allowing us here now, right now, to just go ahead and go for the Body Slam spam. We don't really care too much about it. They try to debuff us the entire time here with their Sand Tomb, but we don't care about that one. Like, we're really not caring about this one here at all, as they're going to be able to just spam those Body Slams. You're not going to use a single shield here. They can knock me out here in time. I can go ahead and go into my Togekiss. I can get the second to last shield there. Their first hit from the opponent basically here, and I can swap now into my Haxorus, which will be able to go for the Breaking Swipe, debuff the opponent's attack, as well as going to be able to now, just farm them all the way down. Shield once, farm them down, win the game. That's basically how we're gonna roll with that one today, as we're going to see the Garchomp coming in here and we can go for the full farm down there. Good game there. Next opponent, let's take a look at this one. We're going to get the Togekiss against a Gyarados lead. Pretty decent, but we're going to see something which kinda annoyed me later on a little bit, but we're gonna find that out anyway soon. I'm gonna go ahead and let this move go through here right now, which is going to be the awkward here. I can go straight for the Ancient Power. We have a 1-turn fast move against us. There's no good move time against this one. We will be able to knock them out, and in comes now the Togekiss. If I knew it was a Togekiss coming in, I would have just stayed in first, because now we're going to have the opponent going into the Haxorus, which of course would be a decent matchup for our own Togekiss, but we basically are not really that great against other Togekiss with our team. We have our lead, which is neutral, and we have Snorlax, which is neutral, but we basically currently waste both of those Pokemon here. So it's not really ideal. So I have to try to get an alternative strategy here right now, which is going to be me going into my Togekiss right now, trying to take one move here from the opponent, which still does more damage than I expected. I have to shield up the move here, and I have to try to debuff the opponent twice for their attack here with our own Haxorus, as this is going to allow us to hopefully tank some more fast moves from the opponent, but our Togekiss is already pretty low from the previous matchup, so it's going to be a tough one. We will be able to go for another Breaking Swipe here, gonna get them actually lower than I expected as well, and now we're going to try to win this game with our increased damage from our fast move, while the opponent is going to have, of course, the debuff damage there, 2 times debuffed, and we're going to take way less damage than the opponent, but sadly they still get to an Ancient Power, and they're going to be able to win this game here. But very good game to the opponent. I think if I stayed in with my own Togekiss against the opponent's Togekiss, I definitely had a better chance of winning this game. But of course, that's always something that you can say afterwards, right? So yeah, we're going to have here the Gyarados now in the lead. We're going to do the same play again. We're going to go straight for the charge move here. If they shield this move up, I'm going to swap out here into my Snorlax, trying to bait out a potential Dragon-type Pokemon in the back, as they seem to be a little bit weak against Togekiss here. So we're going to tank those moves pretty easily. I'm going to try to overfarm a little bit more, because Awkward Hill, as you're going to see here right now, doesn't really do too much damage. And I really value the energy a little bit more here on my Snorlax, as I will be able to go for a charge move here. Body Slam going to knock them out. And in comes now the Haxorus. We will be able to go for a Superpower. This is the only move that I can go for, really. The Superpower does a little bit more damage than a Body Slam. And we will be able to now get them below half health, which is of course going to be nice. We have a shield advantage here already. And we're going to get out the Metagross, which allows us to get out our Haxorus here. And Haxorus can go for the Night Slash spam here against the opponent. And we're gonna get the attack buff. And with that, all the stuff that we talked about earlier, where we need to go for another charge move here, goes completely to waste, as we're going to be able to just farm them all the way down. In comes the opponent's Haxorus again. They're gonna go for the Breaking Swipe. I can go for my own Breaking Swipe here as well. And at this point of time, there is literally nowhere to go for the opponent's Haxorus. the best move they can hit me with for the Togekiss would be a Surf, and I don't think they're going to run Surf, and I don't think this would even knock me out even close there with a debuff especially, so that's going to be a good game. Let's take a look at the next game here right now. We have Primarina in the lead. That's going to be a pretty neutral one as they're going to swap out into the Shadow variant of Mamoswine. As you're going to see here, I tried to go for my charge move, but sadly they were able to get to theirs first. But at least I'm going to be able to farm them all the way down here, allowing me to go for 2 debuffs against the opponent's Primarina, but they're playing this pretty well here as they wait out the switch clock right now, so I won't be able to take too much advantage of the opponent here right now, as I'm going to still be able to go for 2 breaking swipes. Maybe should have went for a fast move in between as well, but I was not sure if I would survive 2 charms there. But like this, we're going to be able to go into our Togekiss, get some damage onto the opponent, in comes the Excadrill, and it's going to be a very close matchup here right now. Let's take a look at this one. We're going to be able to take those charge moves first. I have to try to bait the opponent here, because Superpower would most likely knock them out from this range here, but still, the Body Slam going to be the better choice here as it doesn't debuff me. And of course, Superpower takes also a little bit more energy. We have to basically try to get the shields from the opponent. As I still get to another move here, I didn't see that fast move coming through for that one, which I was confused a little bit in the beginning there. But here we're gonna get now another charge move off while I lagged there sadly. I tried to stop catching the move, but it didn't work out. They're gonna go into the Primarina. They had a move stored already, I think, after this one. So I had to go for the Ancient Power. And I feel like this is enough to survive a Rock Slide. I hope it's enough to survive a Rock Slide and the additional fast move damage afterwards. It turns out it is not. I will be able to survive the Rock Slide, but not enough fast move damage to knock them out or force them to throw another shield. Or like throw another move there, because now I'm not able to get to my charge move in time because they win CMP, but very close one, very good game. I really enjoyed this one. Let's take a look at the next game. We're going to see a Chandelure in the lead, very spicy Pokemon, but can be able to counter a lot of Pokemon in the meta right now as well, like all the Steel-type Pokemon, for example. Don't really want to see a Chandelure, but here we're going to now encounter the Primarina coming in. We have to try to realign our Pokemon because our best Chandelure answer is of course our Haxorus in the bag. While we don't want to have the Primarina against our Haxorus, we're going to be able to go ahead and go for another charge move here against the opponent. It's going to be the Body Slam coming through, and if they swap in a Charm user, I'm pretty sure that they're going to run Double Charm at this point of time. Chandelure Double Charm is a team that people run, so I'm a little bit scared about that one. Let's take a look at this. We're going to be able to get into our Haxorus, and just in case there's going to be another Pokemon coming in here afterwards, I'm going to overfarm a little bit here. It's going to be the Togekiss. I swap into my own Togekiss. We're now a little bit down in terms of both the health as well as the energy, but I'm pretty sure we still survive on Ancient Power here, and we literally just barely survived that here, just enough and just in time to get to my own one, which is super important for this matchup, as this is going to not knock them out, but put them close enough that I can counter them down. Now the opponent's Chandelure has nowhere to go. This Night Slash is going to do a ton of damage and knocking them out straight away, giving us the most necessary boost afterwards as well, and this is going to be a very good game. Also, if you enjoyed this video so far, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already as well. It helps out the channel and is totally free. Here we're going to now encounter another matchup where we're going to be able to get our Haxorus against another Metagross here right now. I will be able to go ahead and shield up once, and of course I'm going to have to throw another charge move, which I know now after I saw the first matchups that I have to throw here one more time, which will allow us now to get the knockout against the opponent, as they not want to risk the KO through the shield, which happens also sometimes. If you didn't know, like, you'd always do 1 damage if like the opponent shields, it still does 1 damage against you. So here we're going to now get out the Dragonite, which sadly will knock us out, but we're gonna get them super low, and in comes now a Florges, which is going to be very decent for us. We will be able to now spam those Body Slams. I'm going to shield up the first move already here, because this will be a Moonblast and would do a ton of damage, and Snorlax is going to be our best weapon here. We will be able to now go ahead, go for the Body Slam spam, and we're gonna get all the shields from the opponent. They still had 2 shields left, now it's only 1, and they're going to definitely be at 0 after the next Body Slam here, I would guess, as they kinda want to preserve the health of the Florges here for sure. And now I see the switch clock coming up, but they are not swapping out in time, allowing us to go for another charge move here. Going to do a ton of damage. They are swapping out now, and Togekiss is going to be able to lock in the Dragonite here right now, which is gonna go for the Dragon Claw. We will be able to farm them all the way down. The opponent gave up at this point of time. They're gonna go still for 1 charge move here, but I think they know already this game is over. The Moonblast is not gonna do enough damage, and this is going to be a very good game. Final game for today's video. Let's take a look at this one. We're going to see the Haxorus in the lead here. Again, very decent lead for us as they swap out into the Metagross. This team seems to hard counter most of the teams of the opponents right now, so it seems to be such a strong team to use right now. Let's take a look at this. We're going to see the opponent going to let this first move go through as you're supposed to do it. As you see now the Meteor Mash approaching us, we have to try to overfarm a little bit and now go for the charge move on the CMP tie here to try to either force the opponent to shield, which they do, or yeah, knock them out there, of course. We're gonna not get the buff here on our Pokemon, sadly Night Slash buff didn't come through, but we're going to see now the Haxorus. I'm gonna go for 2 more extra fast moves, so just to confuse them, so maybe they don't throw immediately and I might get to another one. But sadly, they let the Breaking Swipe go through, which did way more damage than I expected it would do, which allows us now to go into our Snorlax. This is interesting matchup, of course, for me. I went to my Snorlax instead of my Togekiss because I expected them to swap out immediately. Like this, we would be even able to go for superpower and clear our debuff onto the Togekiss, but of course we don't really want to go into our Togekiss against the Mamoswine. Can we still survive the avalanche here? We are below half health, but we just barely survive it. Snorlax is just such a good Pokemon in this meta right now. Superpower comes through, doesn't knock them out, but 2 more charms will be enough to win us this game here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. You see 2 videos on the screen right now, check them out if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.